Welcome to Epic Stock Due Diligence. Please subscribe at youtube.com/EpicStockDD. Thank you.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another exciting episode of Epic Stock Due Diligence. And I wanted to let everyone know that I do have another virtual penny stock trader convention coming soon. The first one was a hit. I did have some technical snafus in the studio. The next one is going to go off smooth as glass. So stay tuned to youtube.com/EpicStockDD for time and date and information for that. But what I want to talk about within this video is my 2014 penny stock trading strategy. Now, as with all my content, I'm sharing this information for entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered a recommendation to buy or sell security. So with that being said, in 2013 my strategy was centered around penny stocks trading in the 00 range. My reasoning for that strategy was you're dealing with your triple zeros, your .0001 through .0009. And those are typically up-and-comers. Not that that's a problem, because a lot of those up-and-comers, people that get in on something before the news, before the hype, before the perceived hype, before the pump, whatever it may be, those are people that are front-loaded for pocket change. For example, a 0001 price per share play, taking commission out of the picture, $100 taking commission out of the picture is typically going to get someone 1,000,000 shares. That sounds like a lot, but keep in mind a lot of these 000 plays are complete junk. And I say they're junk from a share structure perspective. Now you can check out my other video where I explain share structure, but a quick summary of what share structure is: you throw a rock into a bathtub, and then you throw that same rock into the ocean. Throwing a rock in a bathtub, it's going to make a splash, and people are going to notice it. Throwing that rock in the ocean, unless you're right there beside it, you're not going to notice. Such a vast body of water. The same thing is applicable to share structure. So when you're dealing with a lot of those 000 plays, you're dealing with stocks that are so diluted that it would take an insane amount of volume. We're not just talking about millions of shares. We're talking about hundreds of millions of shares to even uptick it insignificantly. So that's often a problem for these 000s because they're often seller boxed, meaning that the ones that are trading at .0001 have no bid, and they're seller boxed from the perspective that they're locked in the basement, the bottom of the bottom. That's the lowest they can trade. You can buy it, but you can't sell it because there's no bid. And a lot of those will stay like that forever. But with that being the case, 2014 is ushered in, and I'm not going to bring politics into this conversation because everyone has their own opinions regarding politics. But putting politics aside, it's inevitable that 2014 is the year for weed. And what I mean by that is there's legalization of marijuana, not just for medicinal purposes, but also for recreational purposes. So with that being the case, it's really gotten my strategy, not just looking at it from a share structure perspective and a price per share perspective, but it's got me thinking about the business as a whole. When you're dealing with any sort of cultivation, whether it's weed or tomatoes or potatoes, you got to grow the stuff. You got to have the right chemicals that are safe. You've got to have the right lighting. You've got to have grow houses. You've got to have distribution channels. You've got to have this, that, and the other. And what I see, and I'm not encouraging, and obviously, like I said, everything's for entertainment purposes only. It should not be a recommendation to buy or sell security. But what I see with this is an up-and-coming opportunity, because since it is something new, and it's new from the perspective that, hey, it hasn't been allowed from a legal perspective for many years, and now the floodgates have been opened. So there's going to be every Joe Bob shop, small town operation, all the way up to the corporations that want to get a taste of the weed money. And with that being the case, I mean, obviously I'm not going after the Timothy Sykes stocks and this, that, and the other. Dude, check out my training program. Buy this, buy that, buy. I'm not going after those types of stocks. But what I am going after is looking at it from an intelligent perspective, and not just a quick flip or this, that, and the other. Looking at it from a do your own due diligence. Just like Epic Stock Due Diligence suggests, do your own due diligence. Deep dive research and determine what is out there. And since this is inevitably becoming legalized in many different markets, what is out there? What is coming soon? And that's where I'm centering my 2014. And I'm not saying I'm centering my 2014 around weed only, because I'm not. It's foolish, in my opinion, for any trader to limit themselves to one type of stock. I mean, there's all kinds of other up and coming success stories in the penny stock realm. And as always, I like reverse mergers, and I'm always on the lookout for those. I mean, I'm not just looking at weed in 2014. I mean, that's not my only vehicle for potential success. I'm looking at a lot of things. I think at least in the past, alternative energy was a hot item. You know, solar and geothermal and all of that fun stuff. But I think we're probably going to see it. I don't know. I think there's probably going to be a reemergence of the importance of alternative energy, not just for the environment, but for a cost savings perspective. And it was something that, and just to illustrate how bad how much that industry has failed, I was researching solar panels, because I was going to do it not just for the cost savings, but it's obviously better for the environment. And I was going to see if I could install an array of solar panels to help to eliminate some, if not all, of my monthly utility bill. And I'm not going to mention the place that I called, but the place I called, oh, they're going to do a quote. They don't even, all they needed was my address, and they were going to do something from the satellites and see if my property's eligible and if I had the right sun and this, that, and the other. It's been 2 months, never heard back from them. So if that's the type of feedback that a genuinely interested potential customer receives, I don't see this industry going anywhere. And I mean, granted, that's just one solar provider, so I can't say that every solar provider is not on their A game and wanting to go out and provide an estimate and go through with that installation. But that to me signals that solar is not yet, from an investment perspective, solar is not yet where I feel it would have been by this time. Does that make sense? So it's as always, when you're looking at pennies, you're not sitting down. It's like, so I want to retire. I want the safest stocks in the world. Can you recommend what I need? It's not like you're asking those kind of questions. When you're trading stocks, it's like, okay, it's at the bottom, I'm going to sell it when it's at the top. And keep in mind, I don't short, because I feel that the potential of infinite loss is, I'm not going to do that. I don't trade on margin, and I don't short stocks. That's just my own style. And I know a lot of these big penny stock people, oh, they short and they make millions. And maybe they do. But all it takes is that one unexpected turn to completely destroy that individual financially. Because when you're shorting, let me just give you a quick example. When you're shorting, let's say it's $1 a share stock. You get 100 shares at $1 a share. You put in $100 for commission and all of that. But when you're shorting, the expectation is that it's going to go down. But let's say it doesn't. Let's say it goes to $1,000 a share. Then you've got to pay back those 100 shares at the price per share of $1,000. So just a quick illustration of how dangerous shorting can be. So without shorting, my 2014 strategy is centered around weed, and it's centered around just identifying those up-and-coming markets. Like I said, I don't think that's necessarily going to be alternative energy, but that is something that I constantly keep my eye on. And like any smart trader, in my opinion, should do, a smart trader should always be aware of the news, because politics, current events, etc., can trigger the markets to react. So just like, and that's why I'm stepping back to the weed thing, just like we've seen with the weed and the legalization in some areas. we've seen a response to that, and the response has been the street. You know, you've got penny stock shells. Hey, and it could have been a 0.0001 price per share shell company that maybe somebody is purchasing that shell for the intent to create a business centered around weed. You know, think about it. But most importantly, I appreciate your viewership. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to do so. It's youtube.com/EpicStockDD. And also, if you haven't checked out my book, feel free to check it out. Go to the main page, youtube.com/EpicStockDD. And there's a link right there below the picture of me in front of the bull on Broadway. And it says, buy my book. Check it out if you want to. It's on iTunes, a few bucks. Not here to sell a book. I'm just saying that I wrote it, and you know, it'd be cool to sell a few copies. But anyway, thanks for watching, and share this video with others, and y'all have a good day.